Hello, and back to the BCS podcast, week 5, recapping week 4 and previewing week 5.
Okay.
How was our weeks, gentlemen?
It was hot.
Terrible.
Hot. Like hot.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it was actually warm out.
I mean, it was like 90 and sunny on Saturday
Wow.
at the Horseshoe. So
I couldn't feel my body. So why don't we start with Cozzi, then go to Zack, and then I'll end us out just for our weekly recaps, and then we can talk on the other games.
Look, offense, juggernaut. They're not getting slowed down anytime soon. Judkins is worth every penny that we paid. Will Howard looks like he fits this offense very well. Chip Kelly's got you could see fine-tuned things, like the way our guards are pulling, the way we're kind of zone scheming it, just fine-tune things in this offense with Chip Kelly. Obviously, the big news in Columbus is we gave up 14 points to Marshall, and we didn't name a player of the game because they were so mad and disappointed that we gave up 14 points to Marshall. So, Zack, good luck on Saturday because they're pissed. And I have heard from inside the building from someone, they're actually pissed. So, good luck, Zack.
Yeah, I know. We got screwed. Ohio State had the bye week, and then they played some cupcake school instead of us. Now we have to get the piss to Ohio State. Seriously, come on. We couldn't have played them last week. Yeah, we'll move on. Our game last week was a rainy mess. It rained the entire game. 23-19, like the Monsters Inc. Little thing. I don't know why that popped in my head. Once I saw the score, that just popped in my head. Defensively played really well. Contained Castellanos. I was shocked. We had multiple stops behind the line of scrimmage. Had an absolute insane stop on 4th and goal at the 1 from Jordan Hall that kind of saved us our chance to come back and win the game. But still, the one thing that's killing us all season is turnovers. 4 turnovers in the game. Come out of the half with the lead and give up 10 points right away. Still the issue of the season. We had a pretty good possession of the ball. We kind of dominated the line of scrimmage for a while. I mean, we were passing the ball over. They couldn't throw the ball to save their life. But at the same time, being out 3 starting receivers, we turned over the ball 4 times, 1 right out the half. I just don't understand. Maybe this is crazy to me, but if the ball is kicked near or in the end zone, never take the ball out of the end zone. I don't care how many times you think you're going to get yards. Just take a knee. You're getting the ball for the free at the 25-yard line. I mean, the percentage of you getting to the 25-yard line is still low already, and you going past that is even more low. So, I don't know. Just take a knee. That's the one problem. Just take it.
It's okay. No one saw this game, so.
Yeah, it was on the ACC network. The announcers were just absolutely so biased. They literally talked about the bandana probably 45 times in the game, and it was so
okay. Hold on, let's not hate on America.
No, we're not hating on it, but there was no they didn't even really talk about the game half the time. We muted it at one point because I was like, all right, we can't even. They're just literally talking about Castellanos running around like a madman, even though he got lost 5 yards. Come on. So yeah, Blake, talk about the big game of the week.
Oh, I'm so interested in this
premier game of the week.
Yeah,
I'm so interested.
Speaking of respecting the troops, Michigan decided to do their own tribute to the troops by doing a Service Academy offense. I mean, it reminds me pretty much of what happened with the Penn State game last season, where it seemed better than it was. Listen, by this point in the week, you've already heard all the breakdowns. You don't even need to hear much from me. We had 9 yards of offense before the last drive in the second half, which again reminded me of the Penn State where it was one drive broke, and it's we run the ball 30 straight times. You had 8 punts, whatever. But incredible bad breaks by Michigan sometimes. I've never seen it before where they fumbled and we picked it up and Kenneth Grant gets it ripped from him by Woody Marks, and then they get a first down again.
Yeah,
that was back-breaking. The fact that Michigan even came back from that was insane to me.
The only time I can remember that, 2002 national championship.
Yeah,
Krenzel threw a pick.
See, I was 2 and Zack was like 1. So
yeah, Claret ripped the ball out. I mean, everyone's seen the play though. I mean, it was like that's the only time I've ever seen that.
That was a really bad play. I mean, realistically, it should have cost Michigan the game.
And look, man, the social media just response from the Trojans that are still right now talking about how bad the refs were. My favorite one is people talking about the holding on the last play with the guy that's got a club, which is very funny to me. But it is what it is. You know, there was a lot of brutal calls on both sides. I mean, one of the most obvious neutral zone infractions on a free play.
Yeah.
But Michigan decided to run it on a free play because, you know, we can't throw it clearly. But, you know, I did think that this is what we had to do to win. Did I think it was going to be this extreme? No. You can see obviously how important it is that Loveland was out. I mean, say what you want. I mean, the guy has like 50% of our production on offense in terms of catching the ball. So, and this is kind of what makes me think that separates a team like Texas apart from USC is USC has no trenches and Texas does. Texas has elite trenches and can play any way you want. USC clearly cannot stop the run. I mean,
they also
one pass play on an 85-yard 2-minute drill. That was like a run.
They also did some of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like 4 minutes left in the game,
and you know they're going to run the ball out, and you're just throwing screen passes.
Yeah, screen passes that aren't working during the middle of the game. So you're going to do it at least
one should have been intentional grounding. I mean, like, I understand the idea of the guys in the area, but if you're throwing at the ground, like right to left, and the guys to your right, it's not the area. I'm sorry, but Lincoln Riley does what Lincoln Riley does. I'm seeing a lot of hate for Miller Moss. I thought he absolutely played out of his mind. I know he had 28 for 51. But on his 51 passes, he was pressured 44 times.
He also threw the ball, check downs to tight ends probably 30 of those times, and those were just not developing plays. I don't know why they I don't know. They didn't even take in this type of game on the road in a top 15 matchup, you have to take risks, and they took no risks. They did not try to throw it downfield for a majority of the game, and they literally just kept going. Check down to the tight end, check down to the tight end. And they were getting like lost yards for most of the plays, and it made no sense.
I seriously don't remember a pass of over 10, 15 yards.
No, because they didn't even attempt one.
The longest play was that one dump off to what's his name? Branch, where he broke 2 tackles and almost scored. A lot of good things. One of the plays of the game no one's talking about was Jair Hill catching up to Woody Marks on that breakaway touchdown, which ended up scoring. But if you think about it, that was the play where they fumbled on 4th down and got it reestablished. So technically, I don't think it would have been that possession. I don't know how that works with possession-wise, but
it's actually an official change of possession.
It is like they didn't score on that drive. So USC getting down to the 2-yard line, not scoring. But I mean, again, you've heard everything you need to hear from it. It's kind of embarrassing the way the passing game was. I mean, we kind of expected this. We being the ones that knew what was going on. The other half of my fan base was still taking victory laps at the orgy, which was very interesting. I was like, how do you watch that game and be like, he won the game? Look, in a vacuum, he didn't turn the ball over, but he couldn't really run the ball as efficiently as everyone thought he was. But look, it's hand the ball to Mullings and get out of the way.
I mean,
blocking has finally figured it out. Week 1 and 2, we couldn't do this running the ball. So, if you have below average quarterback play, this team is a playoff team. But can I even get below average playoff quarterback play? Down the line, maybe, because Portnoy publicly said he's going to be buying a quarterback. But we'll see if that fat idiot Ward will let him even do that. So
I can say this about watching that game. Obviously, we had wrapped up, so I kind of missed the first quarter, missed a lot of the first half. So I watched it down the stretch. Wow. Like, USC just I think they're all smoke and mirrors as well. Like, I don't think they're that good. And I don't know what this Michigan team is going to be like moving forward, because if you can't throw the ball, there's going to be teams on your schedule that are going to know that, and they're going to stack the box. And I think here's the thing with Loveland, though.
USC had 10 or 11 guys in the box every play.
I know. I mean, with Loveland, though, out, that's also a big factor.
That is the big X factor.
That's a little bit different.
But who can the first play of the game? This is my favorite part. The first pass of the game when they put ORG in, it's like this 2-yard dump off that somehow it like landed in front of it was a line of scrimmage dump off, and the ball landed at the receiver's feet. And I was like, all right, this is how this game is going. I just knew it from the start. I was
got
like,
better
man.
when he went down. I don't think it was like the worst game from Orgy.
What, he passed like 3 for 6?
I mean, he was 7 for 13, I think. But Klein, I mean, he dropped a few balls, like, eh. But I mean, in a vacuum, he was like, above 50% completion. I know it was 30%, 32 yards, but I mean, whatever.
He didn't really. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy for saying this, but he didn't really add that element of like he's gonna tuck the ball and run. Because
that's my thing. Is the difference in his running to what Warren was doing, which Warren didn't really run. I don't know if it's as low. I don't know if the difference is big enough to justify having 0 throwing. Like,
yeah.
Because if Orgy was able to, give me 70, 80 yards on the ground, it'd be like, okay, that makes sense. But Warren, you at least got to kind of respect the pass a little bit. Not much, but at least it's something.
Yeah.
But if we do one more dump off screen behind the line of Samaj Moore, I'm going to kill someone.
He literally, so he ran to the outside and cut up into the line when he could have went like this and cut across the middle of the field and had 40 yards. Yeah. So it was like, what are we doing? And then
this game does make me question. It's like, what happens if Donovan Edwards scores in the first drive? Does the game totally change? But I think the biggest winner of this game is Texas. I mean, you can just see how good that team must have been if they were able to stop the run like that. So
yeah. I mean, we can just go through quickly. Penn State dominated Kent State 56-0. UCLA lost to LSU 34-17. Indiana keeps rolling 52-14. Maryland 38-20 over Villanova. Rutgers over Virginia Tech 26-23. Shout out Con Montangai. Northwestern
lost. Shout out Cozzi's outright pick.
Yeah, 24-5. That's an interesting score. Iowa retains the trophy 31-4. Oh no, they get it back. They get the trophy back 31-14. Yeah, they lost last year.
Yep.
Oregon State beats Purdue 38-21. And then the big game of the week, other than Blake's game, overtime thriller on Friday night lived up to the hype of everything that everybody wanted.
Nebraska's kicker, why? Like,
that's a backup kicker. I think they said it was their backup kicker, but hey, people keep saying that, dude. Mahomes missed a wide open guy in the end zone. I don't know what we're doing here. Like,
Mahomes
wide open in the end zone.
Dylan Raiola played a phenomenal game, and
he did. He played a great game. Okay, I mean,
but Luke Altmaier played better. Just how it is.
Yeah, and you know what? Go look at Illinois' schedule. Is Illinois going to be in the conversation? Because they might be. I mean, you win on Saturday night at Penn State in the whiteout.
Unofficial whiteout.
The unofficial whiteout plus game.
Yeah, Bielema just bullied him into that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I think they're doing a whiteout or something.
Guess what? If you win this game on Saturday, you're looking at being in the playoff discussion, even with a loss to Michigan and Oregon. Like, you go 10-2 with a win at Penn State. I mean, actually, here's the thing. If you win one of the Penn State, Michigan, Oregon games, and you win the rest of your games and you're 10-2, they got to be in the discussion.
I'm looking at the USC schedule as well. I mean, they had a tough loss against Michigan, but I mean, they only play Penn State and Notre Dame left. That's a
and man, are they going to just beat the shit out of Wisconsin this week? Yeah. They are going to open up a can of whoop ass.
Yeah.
Who is this, USC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Their schedule for the rest of the season. I mean, they had a bad loss. That was a bad coaching, but at the same time, they could literally bounce back and run the table and make the conference championship still at 11-1. There's still a chance. There's a lot of tiebreakers. The tiebreakers are really weird, but they could really. I mean, they beat Penn State, which that's going to be a really interesting game. I really am looking forward to that one.
I do want to touch on one thing. A team from Ohio, once again, Bowling Green, made a scare to a Power 5 team and should have probably beat Texas A&M.
Yeah.
They were driving late, down 26-17, and threw a pick. And then A&M literally fumbled the ball like 4 plays later. They kicked a field goal at the 20 seconds left. 26-20 final. Bowling Green had so many chances though in this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
they've got it good, right? I mean, they almost beat Penn State. Not almost beat, but you know what I mean? Had Penn State in the dogfight. It's a tight end, Harold Hannafin or whatever his name is.
Yes,
I mean, he's getting legit shouts for being a good job. But hey, who knows? Especially with if NIU actually leaves the MAC, they might win the MAC next year. So
if we're just looking at ranked games from this week, Utah beats Oklahoma State 22-19. Kansas State
not really 22-19. I don't know if you saw that game, bro.
Yeah.
They scored 2 garbage time touchdowns. Oh my goodness.
Yep, that was a blowout.
City.
Kansas State got blown out by BYU. The Cougs absolutely dominated Kansas State. I turned the game on and the backups were in, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like you said, Bowling Green, that was a close game. If we're just looking through, Clemson blew out NC State. It was never close. They had no chance in this game.
So are we going to talk about Blake's 2 teams?
What do you mean?
Well, Tennessee blew out Oklahoma, which congrats.
Yeah, Tennessee dominated. Their coach went up to their quarterback
that was such a tough video
after the game, and all he said was, I laid off because our defense was playing so well in the second half. He just gave up. He said their offense is just going to play very vanilla. He said there's just no
But your guaranteed lock of the week did not hit either, so.
No, it didn't. They had him in the first half, not going to lie. If you're an underdog, smacking a 50-something yard field goal as like a G5 school.
Oh, my goodness.
But, God damn.
Also, Missouri Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a 3 opportunities.
Missouri sucks. I'm sorry. Missouri sucks.
And they choked it away. They literally had the
BC
ball.
And they almost lost to Vandy. Like, give me a break.
So that was all from that week. There wasn't a ton of ranked versus ranked matchups this week.
Service academies are kicking ass.
Yeah.
Navy was a 10-point dog, beat Memphis outright, and then Army won last night because we're recording this on a Friday. And then they also beat Rice last week. So what's the kid's name?
The Army team.
Daly, their quarterback.
Rice and Daly.
That kid's absolutely.
Army has now beat. Okay, let's see. The Owls, and the Owls. They beat FAU, they beat Temple, and they beat they beat
Rice.
One other team. Rice.
Rice,
They beat the Owls, the Owls.
Yes.
They love playing the Owls.
One of 2 teams with the worst schedule in Ohio State.
Yeah, well, hey,
they have 133, I think.
If you want to look down Army's schedule, I mean, they also beat another Bird in Lehigh. So they've literally beat the Birds up this year. Yeah. I don't know what the season's going to come down to. I've followed Army football for quite a while because I'm a little biased. And followed it pretty in depth. And Bryson Daly, basically, I have always said, they need to open up this passing game because he can actually throw the ball. He's been there for now 4 years. Dude, I'm just going to say this. This has got me a little excited about Army football. And I always get the updates. And sometimes if they're not playing when Ohio State's playing, I'm watching their games. And everyone's like, oh, man, why are you watching Army? And it's like, well, wanted to serve at one point. Things happen, but always been attached to Army. And I'm excited. And there's a game November 23rd at Notre Dame at 7:30.
It's at Yankee Stadium.
It's at Yankee Stadium.
That'd be nuts.
If Army goes into that game undefeated and they somehow pull out a victory there, you could be looking at possibly a back-to-back. I would be interested to see what the AAC would do, because if you have Navy Army playing for your title game, I would be very interested to see, would they just make it 2 weeks in a row, or would they possibly flip a coin and be or flip the script and be like, hey, you know what? Army Navy, you're going to play your only game against each other, neutral site for the championship.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. Earlier before the season, I swear to God, I was asking if that could have been the conference championship game. You guys, it's not conference games after.
Wait, it's actually not a conference game. It's literally not a conference game.
But it could be.
But it could be now. And I'm just excited. People are talking about Army. Rank them.
I hate conference expansion, man. We have Army, Navy in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Everyone said it was going to be Michigan, Ohio State. God knows it probably won't be at this point. But hey, maybe it's Army, Navy. God, I hate conference expansion.
Yeah, and we're getting close. We can almost talk about the Pac-12. We're almost there.
Oh,
we're getting close.
Slowly but surely. But
yeah, slowly but surely we'll talk about the Pac-12. Now we can touch on this week. We'll just fly through some of the games, and then we'll.
Oh yeah, Michigan broke USC. Bear Alexander, your dad was subtweeting us and tweeting at us on Twitter. Fight on.
Noon on Saturday, Maryland, Indiana. This will be like the big game where Indiana will prove if they're legit. They're at home. Their fans still do not take it serious. Our buddy Matt, texted us and said, their fans are not going to take them serious until they start winning consistently. It's just how it is. They're still not going to pack the games. You can get tickets for like $10. Like they're not that serious yet. And this is probably a game where they could prove that they're legit, trying to make a run right off the bat. Nebraska at Purdue. Nebraska 10-point favorite on the road.
Kind of love Purdue.
And hey, by the way, it's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock. Nobody can watch it. 3:30 CBS game of the week. Wisconsin at USC. Like Cozzi said, I mean USC should absolutely roll in this game.
USC is a 15.5-point favorite. I am taking USC to cover easily.
USC might cover the total on their own.
Yeah.
They might score 52 points. Yeah. 7:30 NBC game. Illinois at Penn State in the unofficial whiteout. Unofficial.
Penn State is going to win by 100. I don't care. We say this every year. Okay, it's the West Virginia game part 2. Every time. This is the fake Harbaugh that
they are going to choke this away so bad.
Okay.
And they are going to want to run Franklin out of the state.
I don't know, man. This is the Franklin wins. Oh, I beat a ranked opponent at home by 50. What do you mean?
I'm taking the under in the first half.
This has, and I believe the weather forecast, I think it's going to rain, maybe. So this has Iowa, Penn State when Iowa came in and no one expected, and they had a blocked punt, they had a fumble recovery.
Iowa, Penn State last year, where they won by 100. That's the Iowa, Penn State I'm thinking of. This game's going to be.
Nah. It's going to be the Iowa, Penn State from like 4 or 5 years ago where Iowa upsets them. It's going to be massive upset. Illinois all the way. I'm telling you right now. I actually believe
42-9.
No, what are we putting? What friendly wager are we putting on this? What does someone have to do?
Well, Penn State's covering.
Are you willing to give me Illinois to cover 19.5?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so what are we putting on it?
We'll find it out. Let's do this like once a week, and we'll at the end of the year aggregate the results. We'll find something.
Okay, yeah. We'll think of something. We'll do this once a week.
And then nightcap at 11 p.m. Oregon at UCLA. Thank God it's 2 West Coast teams. The Big Ten After Dark game.
Big Ten After Dark on Fox. Fox.
Yeah. That should be an interesting one to see if Oregon
might have enough time for Gus to call my game and then fly out there and do his game.
And then we can round back. We'll start with the big one tonight. 8:00 tonight on Fox. Washington, the Huskies travel to Rutgers. So it's the coast to coast. We're traveling. Almost coast to coast travel.
I think the travel affects Washington. I really honestly think that. I think that this is going to be your first game where Washington comes out flat. They are college students, not used to traveling across the country. First and foremost, look at the first time Oregon played with Bo Nix, and they went to Georgia. Now, granted, it was Georgia, but they looked like they didn't even know how to play football. And that was Oregon, and they were a good team. I really just think that this travel is finally going to show. It's going to affect some teams. because we're not used to doing this. And like, for example, our Midwest teams, we're not used to going out to the West Coast unless it's like for the Rose Bowl, and you're there for a week and a half. You get used to it. You're there for 2 weeks sometimes. So just my opinion, I think that this is going to be the first thing that really affects a team going across the coast. They're going to come out flat. I got Rutgers covering in this game, that 1.5 easily. I think that they win this game by 10 plus.
Here's what's interesting to me, okay? Like you're saying, Washington's traveling. It's a Friday, okay? So these kids, it'd be 5 o'clock. So they're basically, I mean, their bodies are probably just adjusting to the time, so it's hard to say what's happening. Most people would be out of practice by then on a Friday, if they even practice on Fridays sometimes. It's just interesting to me to see how that traveling will go. If they were traveling to a later time, it would be a little bit more convenient for them. But I would say, yeah, I've been saying Rutgers all week, but I think I'm going to change it up and say Washington. I think Washington, offensively, they're a little more. They have throwing and running. I think that they have a little bit of both. Rutgers, I think, is more just like a run-heavy team, depending on weather. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like today. I didn't even look at that.
For the honor of the conference, you got to have Rutgers win this game. But this seems like a classic Rutgers is back spot. They win this game, we're back, and then whoever they play next week, they're going to lose to. So
it's tough. I'm going to take Washington in this game.
Run McGonagall into the ground. I think Washington's the better team. Rutgers might be better coached.
Rutgers next week is at Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the at the backs versus we never were back to the.
God, imagine if that game was 5-0, 5-0, or 4-0, 4-0 if the teams did their jobs.
I don't know. I had a certain person telling me that Nebraska was going to be 7-0 when they get to 8-0 when they get to Ohio State, but that's crazy because that didn't turn out too well. Yeah, and then we can move on. Fox noon, shocker. They're playing at noon again for the 7th week in a row. It feels like every other week, but last week.
I'm not a college kid anymore. I don't complain.
Yeah. Minnesota travels to Michigan. The line's 10.5. It's moved up from 8.5 to now 10.5. The over-under is 34 points. The weather is supposed to be absolutely terrible.
Monsoon.
Yeah, Blake, let's hear it.
I don't need to get boring. This is going to be both teams trying to run the ball game. The reason the over-under being 34 is Iowa level, which I kind of love. I sneaky think we can cover this. It just depends on what Michigan tries to do. The rain throws it out. I initially was like, look, I want us to run the ball down their throats, be up 21-0 at the half, and then just throw the ball around the yard, see what happens. Chaos shit. Who cares? We'll figure it out. But I don't know. I think we'll just run down their throats. They made it seem like Mullings might be the starting running back, which is crazy because we're actually making some positive adjustments. If that's the case, I'm feeling very confident. But I don't know. Look, man, again, not a financial advisor. You can get Cleo Mullings touchdown and Michigan money line at even money. Again, not a financial advisor, but my goodness, that just seems free. If you watched the Minnesota game last week, they gave up 300 yards on the ground to Heisman candidate and Blake Slummind, who's been talking about you every week. Caleb Johnson's finally starting to get some national media. He had 2 touchdowns again for the 4th time this season. But yeah, I've been doing my thing. Been talking about him. Him and Jutney are the best 2 backs of the country. He's number 2, but doesn't matter. But Minnesota's got a pretty good back as well. Darius Taylor, who'll be Michigan's running back next year, and we take him in the portal. Hopefully, he just stays healthy. But yeah, interested to see how this game turns out. Probably gonna be a boring snooze fest at noon. Michigan should kill them and it won't be on the killing on the scoreboard. It'll be one of those games where it's like Michigan wins.
Run.
But 21-3.
What?
21-3.
Something like that. Exactly. Right. So it won't be like I think we'll cover as well. Tim Wall's in attendance. So do with that information what you will. One guy's going to the best game in the country and one guy's going to Michigan, Minnesota. It is what it is. But yeah, so do with that information what you will. I think Michigan kills them. Not super confident on the spread, but again, Michigan money line and Mullings, double your net worth bet. Again, not a financial advisor.
Double your net worth. Yeah, we gamble responsibly. If you have any issues, call the number, of course.
Yes.
Okay, Cozzi, you can move on to your game.
Your game. It's y'all's game.
It's your game.
No. Okay,
Go ahead, Cozzi.
Let's see here. It's 7:30. It's at Sparty. Fun fact that I heard today. I mean, Michigan State always has like something up their sleeve to like. Then obviously everyone talks about '98. They upset us when we were number 1 in the country, riding high. That was late November. It was at Ohio Stadium. 2015, they upset us when we were number 1 in the country at Ohio Stadium. 2013, they upset us in the Big Ten title game. Fun fact here, this is actually, I didn't even know this until they were talking about it on the radio this week. From 2012 to 2015, Ohio State lost a total of 4 games. 2 were to Sparty. One was to Clemson in the Orange Bowl, and then one was to Virginia Tech in 2014.
Not me.
Now, this is unbelievable because Michigan State prevented Ohio State from playing in a BCS national championship and a college football playoff spot. Kind of crazy, kind of wild. But once again, they never beat us at Spartan Stadium. And there's been a few close calls. They ain't happening this year. I know that this is like crazy nuts and Michigan State's improved and all this stuff. It just ain't happening. 49.5 is the over-under. It's going to rain, right?
Yeah, it all depends. It's supposed to rain more for Blake's game in the morning.
We might cover that 49.5 on our own. Or is it 48.5?
Seems like it happens annually.
48.5. We might cover that over-under on our own. Line is 23.5. Look, this obviously I have to be kind of worried because it is a football game and you have to play the game and you have to show up. And if it's going to be raining at all, the ball could get slippery. There could be turnovers. Just start out of the gate fast. Let's get up 14-0 and then set on cruise control from there. Other than that, go ahead, Zach, take it away. Because
it's a big weekend. Mark D'Antonio, the coach who, I can't speak right now, infamously beat Ohio State in all those games, getting honored into the Ring of Honor this week. So it's a pretty big deal. Pretty happy for that. One of the few coaches that deserves all the glory that he got from all those wins. This should be an interesting time because it's an actual. It's who you want to play. It's who you want to play down the road. It's who you want to play against in the future. It's where you want to be. Go out there and prove that the coaches have the team prepared and have the team ready to at least compete. The biggest thing is we're playing the number 3 team in the country. This is on a rebuild, which everybody's going to be like, well, this shouldn't be a rebuild. There should be no it's a rebuild. There's going to take time. This is kind of transitioning. This is still partially the team that was here last year. Just go out there and prove. 23.5 points if you cover this spread. If you keep them under 50 points, I'm proud. That's the problem is that this team is so explosive. Ohio State can score at will, and they can score whenever they want. If you can contain them and slow the game down and kind of control the possession time a little bit more than some other teams have in the past. This is their first real test. They haven't played a team. Ohio State hasn't played a team with a pulse yet, realistically, except for Marshall at home. But just like Michigan, they don't know.
State, I think, is the 80th ranked team right now or something. Based on strength of schedule. This will bring up their strength of schedule like 100 points. Yeah.
These teams, Michigan, Ohio State, they just love playing at home, and then they finally go on the road eventually whenever they feel like it. Michigan, you never think they would play away from the big house. These guys play their 17 games a year. So, it's interesting. Night game, like Cozzi said, road environment. This is kind of that, it's not the best team to start off against, but this is like an introduction to Will Howard to the Big Ten, playing in the Big Ten. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but if it's cold and rainy, that's going to be an interesting situation from him coming from playing in, Texas and all those different places. So should be interesting. Judkins is probably the best running back in the Big Ten right now. Can we stop him? Yeah, I said it. He probably is. The guy.
I'm not saying anything. I didn't say this.
Listen, Iowa fans, I've been defending you guys for a while. Caleb Johnson, man, this
Dude,
kid
there's like a tier list. Okay, it goes Caleb Johnson.
not
Judkins.
number one. Clearly, you just said Judkins is number one.
Well, it's a group. Okay, there's like 3 running backs, and then there's
It's
everybody
not.
else.
You just said the number one running back is Judkins.
Okay, he probably is. I mean,
Look, his per numbers are ridiculous, but again, when you weight him with strength of schedule, it'll balance itself out down the line. But look, an Iowa guy having what? I think he has like 6 or 8 touchdowns. Okay, this early in the season, that's pretty good for Iowa.
but yeah, so just get out without more injuries, and let's move on to our
This game
gauntlet.
would be a lot more fun if it was like the pussy weak Ohio State teams of old, but Chip Kelly has them as a respectable program now. So it doesn't matter if it's a monsoon or if it's a damn hurricane. Like, they're still going to be able to put the ball down your throat at will. So if it was the TikTok-y teams of years past where,
where they're doing dances on the field.
It's blowing 29 miles per hour wind out and you're almost losing to Northwestern, like, this isn't one of those teams.
Where they're doing TikTok dances
that was
on the middle of the
70
field.
miles per hour. Let's get that straight. It was 70 miles per hour.
You gotta challenge me on wind. Interesting.
Yeah,
But,
those are all the games for this week for the Big Ten.
There's only like 2 or 3 big games we even can touch on here. But
so today,
the first one is you got
Virginia Tech plays Miami. This should be interesting. Virginia Tech was so hyped at the beginning of the year, and now they've played so bad.
Guys, returning production is the lamest stat, okay? Because you got to talk about what production it is. They returned a bunch of shitters, and they suck, okay? You lose Rutgers, whatever. For me, there's a few fun games, okay? And only one of them was ranked. We had the G5 game of the year, the Blake Circle before the hand.
And now it's canceled.
Liberty, App State, postponed due to storm.
Postponed forever.
Sucks.
See you later.
Exactly, canceled. And then the other fun Group of 5 game is Tulane UCF at noon. That's the game you should watch. My game is boring. If you're at home watching TV, that's the game you should put on.
Yep. Oklahoma State plays Kansas State. That's another good one.
Mid. How these teams both ranked is embarrassing. We should have
Louisville.
I don't know who else. We should have Army and Indiana ranked instead of those 2 scumbag schools.
Hey, I just want to say this. We got an interesting one, by the way.
Louisville plays Notre Dame at 3:30 on the.
I don't care about that.
I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't care about that one. That one, Notre Dame's going to kill them. But there is one at 10 p.m. on FS1, just for everyone viewing. Washington State at Boise.
Group of 5 game.
It's going to be an outstanding game, and I am pumped. By the way, Washington State wins this. Do they get in the conversation?
They have a really good quarterback. That's all I'm allowed to say at this time.
Yeah, they have
a really good quarterback that someone has on their fantasy team.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
and then we have to talk about the biggest game, right?
I mean, we're going to touch on that, but let me just see if there's anything else. Colorado at UCF. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like in that game, but it might be crazy.
Hurricane already hit. They're fine.
Oh,
Florida's fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay.
It's the Carolinas and like Tennessee area that's going to be in trouble. But Colorado can't stop a nosebleed in the run. UCF is going to do what Michigan did, not throw the forward pass. I expect 400 yards on the ground, and I'm not kidding.
Pretty much, yeah.
I thought Colorado was going to lose. Baylor kind of choked that game.
That game was awesome.
Yeah, that game was awesome.
And then
Hail
Mary into a completed Hail Mary into a stripping a guy on the literal goal line and him hitting it on his knee going out of bounds. All-time win for Prime. I'm happy for those guys.
The ESPN nightcap, Arizona at Utah.
What?
Yeah.
The nightcap. That's the nightcap.
The nightcap. Okay. Let's
Who
move
cares?
to the big
Arizona
one.
can't stop the run.
And then let's move to the big game on ABC. 7:30 p.m. Everybody and their mother who's not at a game will be watching. The Georgia Bulldogs, the number 2 team in the country, take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. The line is literally even. You cannot even pick. I don't even know who's the favorite. I'm guessing it's Georgia, but
it's going to end as Georgia favorite.
It is going to probably end as a Georgia favorite. The over-under 50.5 points. It's probably the most watched game of the week. It's probably going to be the craziest game of the week.
Who you got, Zach?
I'm taking Georgia. They are going to roll the Tide. There is no way that the way that Alabama has played so far this year, that they keep up with Georgia. Georgia is probably the second most complete team to me. They had one big, really bad game where they just couldn't do anything.
That happens every year, though. Against
Kentucky. But the one thing that kept them in that game is their defense. They did limited Kentucky to like less than 20 points, and Kirby Smart was pissed. He was like, I'm sick of this shit. We're gonna figure it out, and this is where they're gonna prove it. They're going to go on the road, and they might win by 20 points. They might actually do it. They might roll.
Milroe goes hero ball, keeps Bama in it until late in the third quarter, and then he goes real hero ball, and Dixieland Delight is going to be saying so loud and so proud that they are going to walk out of there with a 2-touchdown victory against Georgia.
Wow. See, I was going to sit here and be like, no one in their right mind would be able to pick either team by a significant advantage, and both of my guys to my left and right did the exact opposite. So I'm right in the middle. I could not tell you who's going this game, gun ahead. I don't know who this game means more for, because we really look at it right in a vacuum. It's Georgia only loses to Alabama, or was it they only lost to Saban? Obviously, we'll find out probably this weekend. But at the same time, the same thing is for Alabama. Is it because we're Alabama, or was it because it's Saban? So DeVore's got a lot on his shoulders this game. I think he'll be scheming up both teams off a bye, which is awesome. I love that. So everyone's fresh, healthy, ready to roll. Crazy stuff. You got Ryan Williams, the freaking 14-year-old out there. It's going to be seeing what he does. Carson Beck, two of the best Heisman candidate guys. I think this is pretty clear going to be who's the Heisman favorite coming after this game. I think the better quarterback that plays here. I kind of think that Milroe will play good, but I think Georgia is just a more complete team. I think Bama is going to be really good going down the line. This could be similar to what they did last year, where they're going to start-ish slow. I know them being 3-0 is like whatever slow, but they're going to build up to a climax. And I think that Georgia might win this game, but I believe Bama will be better in the long term. I don't know if it makes any sense, but I'm seeing a lot of really cool stuff from Bama. They got a good defense. It's a lot of Michigan guys back there, but we'll see. I think it could be a shootout. I know people are on the under. The reverse line movement is screaming Georgia's going to win this football game, but I think I'm literally just going to sit on the couch and just enjoy some damn good football.
This game in my opinion, means a lot more to Georgia because they have to win this one, or they might be screwed because of the fact that Georgia
sucks.
Georgia plays. Yeah, they went from the easiest schedule in the country last year to now they play Alabama, they play Texas, they play Ole Miss, and they play Tennessee. Yeah. Alabama only plays Tennessee out of those teams the rest of the year. So if Alabama loses, they could lose this one, beat Tennessee type thing. It's tough to say. If Georgia loses this game, they might be. I mean, we might be having the conversation that they're missing the playoffs. I mean, there's a realistic chance that they lose to Ole Miss, they lose to Tennessee, and they're done.
But I do like that it's kind of a bad slate with one good game, realistically speaking. So I think that's all we got. Any closing things we got?
Nope. Just go Bucks and make sure you watch on what your space bar is and where's it at.
And don't forget to buy Peacock because you'll need it at some point.
Exactly.
Even Ohio State and Michigan, they need Peacock at some point.
I already have my Peacock game, I think. I don't know. Whatever. All right. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. Really excited to win the Little Brown Jug again and watch Little Bro and Big Bro fight it out. Which one's Big Bro? I'll let you think that in the comments. All right. See you guys.